magnificent Sunday in Sydney. Welcome to Leichhardt Oval for today's big second round clash between Balmain and St. George. They're number 1 and number 2 on the Winfield Cup Premiership table, and a win for the Saints will see them joint leaders on 34. But the Tigers have shown this season they can beat St. George. In the first round, they came from 13 points behind to win by 24-19. Then just 4 days later, on the 8th of May, in a National Panasonic Cup quarter-final, the Tigers again defeated the Saints. This time, the scoreline, 20 points to 18. A game with many characteristics. Balmain have one of the competition's leading point scorers in their team, Ross Conlon. He scored 2 tries and kicked 73 goals for a total of 154. He's second only to Canberra's Ron Ghetto. St. George, on the other hand, have the competition's leading try scorer, Steve Linnane, totalling 52 points from 13 tries. The Balmain team readout for today is Jack, Davidson, Conlon, Schofield, Gartner, Bevan, Gale, Pierce, Owens, Brooks, Hemsley, Elias and Clark. The Saints, Burgess, Johns, O'Connor, Beattie, Morris, Linnane, Haddock, Wynn, Fafita, Noak, Young, Ritchie and Jarvis. And the referee for this top encounter today is Kevin Roberts. So there it is, the start of this very interesting battle between the two top-of-the-table sides in 1985. And it's Michael O'Connor who's tackled inside the 22 first play of the game. Here's Jarvis. Outside the 22 and beyond. Wind coming from behind St. George in the first 40. It's coming out of the north-northeast at 26 k's. Very strong, gusting up the ground. And with a fellow like Mike O'Connor in your side for goal kicking anyway, he's going to be taking shots from a long way out. Very, very heavy tackle there by Balmain. Well, Hemsley pulled Brooks out of the tackle. It was probably a bit silly of Kerry to do that, because what he in fact was saying to the referee, he's overindulged. And that's the way Robert saw it, but Brooks got under and Hemsley got over, and between them they crunched the St. George player to the ground. Brooks penalised as Beattie shoots for touch into the enormous crowd here today. I haven't seen, I don't think, a bigger crowd at Leichhardt since the 76 Cup final between the Tigers and the Bears. That was in excess of 22,000, and this must be bordering on it. I'm sure the ground record for premiership matches here today has been well and truly busted. This is Noak. Premiership ground record here at Leichhardt is just over 19,000. Here's John Fafita, just outside the 22. One of the 2 second rowers that I see, Ian Walsh, believes should not be in this top-grade side for St. George. An attempted drop goal unsuccessful from Steve Linnane. And back to the 22 for the place kick restart. Didn't miss by much, did it? The NEC replay. And this is the NEC big game on 10 Sports. Let's hope you enjoy it, because quite obviously this is the match that the fans have been waiting for. And it certainly couldn't have come on a more beautiful day. Bill Anderson, welcome to the telecast.
Thanks, Ray. It is going to be a great game. I think that St. George have got the forward strength to win this one. Well, that's an interesting one from Kevin Roberts. The St. George players moved up before the ball had cleared the ruck, and some referees tend to let that go. But as I was saying, I think St. George have got the forward strength to stop the Tigers, provided they can eliminate a lot of the basic errors that have marred their game on occasions this year.
So Balmain taking the tap kick, and it's been fired out for a second man run from Clark. One of the Holy Cross connection. Elias getting the ball over to John Owens, who also came out of that mighty fine college. Johnny Owens, Benny Elias, that man Bevan, Gale, of course, he fits into that category, and so does Paul Clark. And later in the match you'll probably see another in the shape of Mike Marquito. This is Gary Jack with the ball, tackled 15 metres into Saints area. Across for Gale to give it wide to Elias, and then a dummy around the back of Pierce, and the little hooker takes the tackle from Pat Jarvis and from Ritchie. And Linnane was involved too. Gale had to rush that. Beattie took it nicely. He was around about silly mid-on, and he picked it up beautifully, and he's taken play to near the halfway. Here's Young, crushing it ahead. He's been to my way of thinking, the form front rower of the year. But a man better versed in knowledge of forward play than I is another of my co-commentators, Graham Hughes. And Graham, if you can hear me, and I've got to preface it by saying that if he fires, the Saints certainly will fire.
Yes, he's been in sensational form, the same as Billy Note. Ray, the guy that just made the break then, but Craig Young leads from the front. He's the man that can get him home today, because I think if there's a weakness in the Balmain side, it might be simply because St. George have the advantage in the front row.
Extreme pressure applied by Balmain on Graham Wynn. The Tigers would be fully aware that Wynn can be a very dangerous player. He has to be hustled, he has to be bustled, and if you can do that early, then Graham's game can go off very quickly. Another penalty going to Balmain.
And that's for the same reason as the first one. The St. George players are moving up before the ball clears the ruck, and Kevin Roberts is a referee that's very careful about infringements around the play of the ball and likes to keep a good 5 metres.
So Scott Gale to take this touch finder. I was just watching that ball coming along the St. George back line from Haddock to Lenane, and so it went on. And there was just an expression of nerves there with certain St. George players. Of course, it would be in the Balmain team as well. Here's Elias feeding it to Gale. On it goes to Clark, running off a second pivot, hitting it up to the 22 line in the middle of the ground. From Gale, it's gone across to Bevan. Bevan to Conlon. They've got the numbers, the Tigers. Conlon, oh, if he could have popped that ball, Gary Schofield would have been home for a try. A long ball out for Elias. A bad pass out to Gale. And now it's with Johnny Owens, and he's tackled 25 metres out. It's with Elias now to the right and for Hemsley, and Hemsley holds it back and gives it beautifully then for Bevan to give it back to Clark, and Clark to Schofield, and Schofield to Hemsley. Hemsley gets it to Conlon. It's a sensational try. The Tigers have scored, and the crowd has gone absolutely berserk. A crowd of around 22,000. Partisan Balmain have seen the Tigers come out roaring in the opening minutes of the match. Aided, of course, by the penalties that went their way, but they really kept the pot boiling here. As Big Hemsley, he created the opening by delicately giving it to Bevan. Bevan got it to Big Paul Clark, and then it was on to Schofield in desperation to Hemsley. Hemsley to Conlon, and Ross Conlon scores his 3rd try of the year.
You can put this try down to Balmain's ability to keep the ball alive. There were a number of occasions when St. George looked like they might have stopped it. There was one, but the player Bevan was able to get his hands free and keep the ball alive to support play. Back over the top to Clark, then on to Schofield. Schofield kept the ball alive to the support in the form of Hemsley. Hemsley on to Conlon, and over he goes for a great Balmain try.
Sure as hell was a good try for Balmain, and Kerry Hemsley, take a bow. That was a beautiful piece of work. He put Bevan through the hole, then he backed up and supported and gave the final pass, or one of the final passes to make the scoreline 4-0. And here's Conlon, as that picture shows you, 12 metres in, 21 metres out on that angle. Can he convert his own try? Bangs it. Beautiful kick. Never left the line at any stage. Ross Conlon and Balmain 6-0. The NEC big game, and the big one of the year is off and running.
Saints have got to put the big men down. One underneath, one over the top. This is Pearce. Score unchanged. 6-0 Balmain. Ooh, St. George driving in with that tackle, and Bevan's injured. Bevan's hurt.
As he was bent back in the tackle, you'll see that his knee was and his calf were very much stretched, and I'm sure that this injury he's suffering is a result of it.
Well, here he is being hit. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Look at that ankle being buckled underneath the body of the tackler. And there's Frank Stanton taking Gary Bridge to the tunnel. He'd be saying to Gary, come here, we'll have a quick talk and you stretch just in case we've got to make the replacement. There's the coach talking to the replacement 5/8. So he plays it courageously, and this is David Brooks who's tackled just outside the 22. I'm looking at Bevan there with you at the moment, and you can see he's got very little feeling in that ankle. Oh, here's a charge down the 10th. Beautiful play by Mike O'Connor. That was very heady football. Gary Jack is holding him down as long as he can. Linane, he tries to do it himself. Balmain have miraculously got back into position.
They can thank Gary Jack for that. A tremendous tackle to save a try.
So it's with Perry Haddock. He tries to slice through and turn it on the inside, but he didn't have a runner. Balmain, they were at 6s and 7s, but they have regrouped. Graham Wynn has tackled. 5 metres out. This is a shutout time for Balmain. It's with John Fafita now, but he wasn't deep enough. And he's about 3 metres from the line. 6-0 to Balmain. Perry Haddock sweeps it blindside. Craig Young chips, but it's too deep. It'll come back to the 22 for the restart.
Well, that was desperate by Balmain. And Gary Jack, as Bill rightly pointed out, he saved them certainly 4 points. But Mike O'Connor, the way he handled it was great. Here's Perry Haddock trying to slice through and turn a ball on the inside, but you'll see there an awful absence of a runner, both inside and outside on the little fellow. This is David Brooks now. Here's Pearce, just settling at a couple of plays just to get their breath back and become composed again. This is Owens. I'm still looking at Bevan. He's still favouring that right ankle. As Gale gets the kick in, it's going down the ground. Will it find touch? Yes, it will. A scrum will go down some 7 metres inside the St. George 22 line. Off the boot of Scott Gale. There's Bevan still favouring that leg, favouring that ankle. What are they doing with Bridge? Does he put the tracksuit back on? Can you see him, Graham?
I'm sorry, Ray.
I'm saying, I know it's hard for you to hear down there with this tremendous crowd today. Has Bridge put his tracksuit back on? That's all I ask.
No, he's still trying to stay loose in the tunnel. Frank Stanton did want Bevan to come off if he wasn't 100%.
All right, so here's O'Connor turning it inside. Morris played at the ball. Then he was tackled. Balmain have come up with the football now. Some people probably thought Morris was tackled, not in possession, but he played at the ball, and that made him fair game. Jack, Elias, Clark, Davidson will support on the inside. The fans have come to their feet, sensing that the Tigers might score again. Clark plays it to Elias. Long ball to Gale. Equally long ball to Bevan. He can't run. Conlon, short pass away to Owens. Owens to Schofield. A quick ball for Pearce to give to Gardner. Gardner's down the line to Schofield. Kicks over the top. It'll be play on. The crowd appeals for a penalty for a late tackle on Schofield. But not for mine. Not for mine. And it's St. George's Graham Wynn with the ball. This was the tackle on Schofield. He got the kick in. And I'd prefer to think, and obviously it's open for discussion, that Schofield appeared to run into Burgess more so than the St. George fullback went for a late tackle.
I thought that Burgess just held his ground, that he's entitled to do that.
So it's a penalty to the Saints now. Well, it was, 2 minutes ago we were watching Balmain under extreme pressure. There's Bevan, he's staying on. He's just been asked the question. And then we just saw Balmain piling on the pressure, throwing the ball about. And we used to call the Canterbury side the entertainers. But I'll tell you what, I think Balmain has taken over that mantle with the football they've played this year. Is Jarvis rucking it out. Graham, we've just had a shot of Stanton giving final instructions to Gary Bridge. He's coming on, eh?
Yeah, Bevan's no good, Ray. He'll be coming straight off now.
All right, so Balmain to go onto the attack. It'd be a fitting finale for Paul Bevan if they could score on the last 6 tackles that he'll probably be out there for. Here's Hemsley, 10 metres away from the line on the hillside of the ground, the scoreboard side of Leichhardt. The ball comes to Gale. They set for one of their many plays. Schofield to Conlon, infield for Jack. And Jack is tackled on the 22 by the little fellows, Haddock and Linane. Away for Gale and on to Pearce, and Pearce goes for the bust. But Fafita is there with Beattie to pull him down. They're about 15 metres out from the Saints line. To Gale, out to Elias wide. Back to Gale. Gale trying to get between them, but he's tackled on 5. Right in the middle of the ground, Bevan is off. Bridge is on now. In jumper 17. They'll go for the air here, I would think, Balmain. Back it goes for David Brooks. A drop goal shot. It looks beautiful. He's got it. It's 7 points to 0 now in favour of the Tigers. It was spun back for David Brooks, and he had all the time in the world, and he put it straight over the black and gold dot here at Leichhardt. 7-0 to the home side. There it is, the NEC big game scoreline.
See what St. George can do in this set of 6. On previous occasions they've had the ball, they've made a few breaks, but Balmain have held together because they've shown tremendous commitment in defence, and their defence has looked great under pressure, and that's when it counts.
So here's St. George on the attack inside the 22. Billy Noak, he's been one of the real success stories for St. George this year. Johnny Fafita, his second row partner, 9 metres out from the line. And now to the blind for Haddock to come open, for Young to go back blind. It's with Jarvis. Now it's with Billy Noak, so they've worked plenty of crosses. It's out to Lanane, a cut-out ball to O'Connor. O'Connor puts a grubber kick into the corner for Chris Johns. Going across is Conlon. Oh, Conlon saves the day. Heavens above, Ross Conlon. That was desperate stuff from him. I thought he might have gone into the concrete gutter that forms the perimeter here of Leichhardt. So fast was he travelling. In fact, as you can see by that, he didn't finish far from it. Thankfully for him, he was going to hit it tail first. So Conlon's made a couple of very important contributions. This is Graham Wynn tackled now, breaking from his scrum and pulled up on the blind side. Haddock's the dummy half. Chris Johns comes in to take the first. Johns is very close. Just about 3 or 4 blades of grass away from that try line. Played back for Ritchie to sweep to Haddock. He holds it back. He gets under. He tried to run between the legs of Gary Hemsley. But as big as Hemsley is, he couldn't fit. It's gone across for Young to stretch the ball to Lanane. A long ball out for O'Connor to Beattie. Beattie to Burgess. They've got the numbers. Burgess, he's tackled 5 metres out. Desperate stuff out there by Gary Bridge. Now it's Steve Morris. Billy Noak tries to hurdle the defence, but he's tackled a metre from the line. It's a great game of rugby league at the moment as Steve Lanane puts the grubber kick ahead, and it's over the dead ball line. So it's a line drop out to restart.
And once again, it was that last-ditch defence by Balmain that was able to keep their try line intact.
No doubt about the ruling of the line drop out taken across by Balmain. So Saints will now come back and mount pressure for another 5 or 6 tackles. Let's have a look at it. 7-0 if you've just joined us. And let me tell you, you've missed 25 minutes of exciting football if you've just come in. Balmain opening at a blistering pace. Running into a stiff breeze. As Scott Gale drops out into the wind. And who said rugby league players go and drop kick? 51 metres on the fly, point to point, into the breeze. This is Burgess now. 32 metres out from the Balmain line. They go to the blind side for John Fafita. He got under one, and just as well he did. Pearce it was going in over the top. Jarvis goes straight ahead. 18 metres out from the Balmain line. An enormous crowd here at Leichhardt as the Saints go on to another attacking raid. They switch it rather extravagantly back to the blind side. And so they'll put the scrum down just outside the Balmain 22. $7-0. Favour of the Tigers. They win the scrum and Gale comes to the open side, but he's met by Lanane and Wynn. This is John Owens. Jack Elias inside for Clark.
I think if Roy Masters had one worry going into this game, it was going to be St. George's handling errors, and that's something that's bugged them all year, and so far they've made 6 mistakes, and no doubt Roy Masters would be concerned about that, and that coupled with this ironclad Balmain defence is making it a difficult task for the Dragons.
Burgess going back to field. A Scott Gale kick ahead, and here's Burgess pursued by Gary Bridge. Eventually got him. Plays the ball. They keep stretching it to the left, and this is Michael Beattie. Hemsley across the top of John Owens underneath. As they come back to the centre of the ground, and Jarvis
They're finding it hard to break the line, aren't they? And I think this is where Perry Haddock and Steve Lanane have got to take the initiative and kick.
Richie inside the 40-metre line. He's still going. He ran away from Steve Lanane, though. Lanane got there to support him, but he ran away from him. Young, John Fafita now. Fafita gets it to Beattie. Beattie is tackled and loses the ball.
That's a try.
Morris puts it down. Referee Roberts giving the try. Referee Kevin Roberts has ruled the try. This was how it happened. Craig Young to John Fafita, and then it was Michael Beattie, and it was knocked down by Balmain's Gary Schofield. I've got to be honest, I didn't see it. Kevin Roberts was on the spot to see exactly what transpired, and that's why Bill Anderson didn't hesitate to say that's a fair try.
Well, this was a mixture of some scrappy play and some great play by St. George. There was no doubt it did come off Schofield's hand. As we've seen many times in the past, Morris kicked and chased, and he came up with the 4 points.
So, what looked on the surface as though it might have been a refereeing blunder turned out to be a spot-on ruling, and St. George are back to a situation of 7-4, their first points in the match. But as I pointed out earlier, this breeze is a big one, and I'm sure Roy Masters would rather have been 3 points in front, if not 7 in front, coming up to the break in 10 minutes' time, than trailing by 3 at the moment.
Just when I'm saying they're finding it hard to break the line,
they do.
So Mike O'Connor converts. The extras are there for the Saints, and 7 points to 6 is the scoreline between the Premiership front runners, Balmain and St. George. Conlon booting it down towards Michael Beattie, who played such an important role in the try that was eventually scored by Stevie Morris. Fafita, who played his part as well. Ball struck for by Ben Elias, and it comes down for Balmain. It's with Gale, and now Schofield. Flick passes inside for Gardner. And Gardner, he was heading infield, and he ran into a Graham Wynn special. Across now for Gale. This is Bridge. Now Owens. The centres came up very quickly. They had to, because they were outnumbered by at least 2. Here's Pearce, taken by Lanane and Beattie. Play just outside the St. George 22 line. Here's Hemsley. Gets the pass out the back for John Owens. On it goes to Wayne Pearce. Pearce has galloped up towards the 10-metre line. It's been kicked ahead by Benny Elias, and Craig Young has to go back. He keeps a watchful eye on it. A tense moment there for St. George. Out comes Chris Johns to take the quick tap. Tackled on the 30-metre point. This is Perry Haddock. Now Richie, who made that big incision through the Balmain defensive line. In fact, all he did was he dummied out of the acting half position, and he found the 2 markers had spread. Here's Lanane over the half. The pass is forward. The pass forward to Burgess. Well, here's Steve Lanane, undoubtedly throwing the ball in a forward direction.
the last 5 minutes have shown us that this game's starting to open up, and the area it's opening up is just around the rucks, and that's an indicator that this game has been played at a tremendous pace, and both sets of forwards are getting tired.
Well, Roberts has now penalised Gale for an incorrect feed. He's indicating he wants it in the centre, but if there's been one blemish on Kevin Roberts' refereeing performance today, I was about to say what a game he's having, the man with the whistle. But he's let a couple of second-row feeds go early in the match, and now he's decided to penalise for it.
And these are the situations when you're the opposition coach that you start to worry about Craig Young. 9 minutes to go before half-time. Your forwards are getting tired. You know that Young is a tremendous ball player, and he's going to take special watching in this set of 6.
Here is Young with the ball, giving it back to Richie, now to Jarvis. Jarvis up to the 22-metre point. And we're in that situation of about 8 minutes of time before the break. Haddock had a little juggle of the ball. That just took a little bit of the edge off this attacking play. And it's Graham Wynn who's going to play it in the centre of the ground. It's gone away to Haddock on the left. Into the middle now for Young. Young is tackled. He's about 15 metres out from the Balmain line. I reckon that's 4 tackles gone. Ritchie across to Jarvis. Jarvis thumping it ahead. That's the 4th tackle now. He's playing the ball back to Ritchie, away to Young. He switches it across back to where it was before. Haddock gives the pass to Noak. Noak gets inside Owens. Noak has got the full back to beat. He's over! It's a try for Billy Noak. But I thought Gary Jack had him. And I think Gary Jack thought he did too. The Saints have put a couple of tries on the board in quick succession. It looked like it was going to the open side, but Young switched it back to the blind. Haddock gave it to Noak. He got inside John Owens. Gary Jack comes at him. He looks as though he's got him, but Noak is able to free himself from the tackle and pick up the 4 points.
Craig Young read this well. He realised that St. George had extras back on the blind side. He switched the ball there. There was a hint of a shepherd, but I don't think it was. Billy Noak stepped off the right foot. Jack had saved Balmain once before this afternoon, but wasn't strong enough to do it again, and Noak crashed over.
So Mike O'Connor with a relatively simple conversion attempt. Hits it sweetly. He's got the extras again, and so St. George, after trailing 7-0, are leading by 12 points to 7. Interesting statistic just been handed to me. Missed tackles, Balmain 14, St. George 7.
I think you'd find that most of those have been in the last 10 minutes.
The kick-off down to Burgess. This crowd, they certainly are getting their money's worth. They're jam-packed in here. There's not room for another individual, I don't think. Look at them. They've grabbed everything they can. Rooftops, tops of toilets, fences, anything at all. Have a look at these two blokes. Thank goodness it's not a scorcher. They wouldn't be sitting down for a while.
I still think that St. George have got opportunities to use their kicking game a little bit more. Balmain are playing no cover defence except Gary Jack back, and I'm sure they'd get success out of it.
Great ball by Craig Young to Barry Haddock. Now it's Billy Noak again. He didn't take a look that time. He had Lenane running free on his outside. And it's a penalty to the Saints, and it's a sin bin. A sin bin for Gary Jack of 10 minutes. Here was Billy Noak, tackled by Jack. Jack knew the situation was desperate, and Jack just persisted and got himself 10 minutes back in the sin bin. Here's O'Connor now. 30 metres out on a bit of an angle. He's got it again, Michael O'Connor. He's taken St. George to a lead of 14 points to 7. Have a look at this bloke. It's Conlon now with the restart. Burgess. Recalling what I told you in our lead up to this match today, the Tigers in the first round were down by 13 points and they came back to beat St. George. Here they are trailing 14 points to 7. It's Young throwing beautiful footballs all over the ground. That wasn't so hot, but he really has been the difference, Craig Young. So it's Balmain scrum win, and Pearce standing out of his scrum, of course, with Gary Jack in the sin bin. And it's across to Gale now. This man is Gartner, and on to Bridge. Bridge away from Lenane. He's about 26 metres out from the St. George line.
And that's the second tackle, and it's gone to Gale. And Gale gets it across to John Owens, and he gets a ball away for Russell Gartner. And Gartner goes towards the sideline, and Steve Morris puts him into touch. That was a very lucky ball that Russell Gartner finished up with, and Morris, very cagey piece of wing football there. He offered the sideline to Russell Gartner.
I don't know if it's a good idea to try and beat Morris on the outside.
I agree with you entirely, but he sort of sucked him into going there. And here's a penalty going to Balmain. It's for collapsing in the scrum. So Balmain will have the opportunity now to mount a rehearsed move. They'll find the line. They do off the boot of Gale, and they'll probably work a couple of plays. One to the open and maybe one back to the blind before they go for what they're actually working on. So Gartner is tackled. Owens comes another one back to the middle. They'll go back to the blind for sure. They're stacking it. Here's Gale, and here's the switch in direction for Pearce. Pearce coming across the ground. He's tackled. Now they're coming to the open side. Benny Elias throws the big dummy, and he's about a metre out on tackle number 4. Gee, they're light on the blind side, St. George. Balmain have read it and gone to it. Hemsley can't take it. John Owens has come down with it, but the ball went forward off Hemsley, and a scrum will form with St. George to feed. It had already come off Kerry Hemsley's arms and gone forward. St. George coming up with the ball. Perry Haddock about 12 metres out from his own line. This is Burgess. Now it's Jarvis. And there's the siren.
That's the end of the first 40 minutes. St. George, after trailing 7-0, are leading by 14 points to 7. Sideline comment, Graham Hughes.
Well, Ray, a magnificent comeback by St. George. Balmain started out very impressively, but the Saints certainly put it together in those last 15 or 20 minutes. The match is far from over, and for me, the match will probably be decided on how well Balmain used this second half breeze. Their trumps in that area will be Scott Gale and Gary Bridge.
Welcome back to the second half of this match between Balmain and St. George. 102 the total tackle count for Balmain, and David Brooks with 14 in the back row has topped the Tigers count. St. George, Johnny Fafita with 14. Craig Young's only made 5, but what he might have lacked in defence, he certainly made up for with his ball skills. Score 14-7. St. George trailed 7-0 and then came back to lead by that margin with 2 quick tries in the latter part of the half. So St. George running into the breeze for the second half. Interesting statistic in that first half, running with the breeze. St. George only kicked 6 times and Balmain kicked 8. This is Russell Gartner now. Gale, Bridge.
Bridge is going to be a very important player for Balmain in this second half. He's played a full reserve grade game, then come on to replace the injured Bevan in the first half of this match, and Frank Stanton must be concerned just how long he can keep going for.
It's Kerry Hemsley fighting to play the ball. One of the St. George players must have got kicked by Hemsley. It's over to Schofield now, and he's tackled just outside his own 22. Perry Haddock was the man who got, I think, a kick in that tackle on Hemsley. Well, there's a kick ahead by Benny Elias. He's hoping for the best, and it's found touch. I was looking back at Elias. He was lying on the ground, and he was praying that it would find touch. Otherwise, it was going to be a scrum down just outside his 22. As it is, it's not far outside the St. George 22.
Just carrying that point on a little bit with Gary Bridge, I think replacements, considering the pace that this game's being played, are going to be very important, and the judicious use of replacements by both coaches could very much determine the outcome.
So, Graham Wynn has tackled near the halfway line. What's the news from the dressing rooms, Graham?
Well, 2 points for Balmain, Ray. One is that they've just got to continue to kick that ball down and try and play the game well inside the St. George half, and also tighten up their defence just on the fringe of the rucks. And interestingly enough, from the St. George dressing room, that point was hammered home too, that they wanted Perry Haddock standing just a little bit wider of the rucks and bringing for feeder Craig Young and Pat Jarvis off him. The Balmain forwards, they felt, was just starting to tire.
As Perry Haddock getting a kick in as we speak. He was put under pressure by Elias, and now St. George have got Balmain where they want them, down inside the 22. And Balmain, though they might be in possession of the ball, really they're in a defensive situation, aren't they? Here's a penalty going to Balmain. St. George up inside the 5. Gale finding touch. He went for everything. It was a pretty adventurous type of a kick. It paid off for him. They take the tap on the halfway. Gartner goes to the middle. Now it's Gale. Here's Clark. And now it's Gale. Bridge. Showing it a couple of times and looking for an opening. It's a move that we've seen many times from Balmain. A lot of work goes into it. And this is Benny Elias with it now, just outside the 22. Here's Gale, Owens. Pearce was looming up on the outside, but St. George have managed to snuff him out. Wayne, he loves to get out wide and hit it hard. Here he is out wide again with Gale kicking into that corner. It's a wide kick. It's gone into touch. It wasn't meant to do that on positive. He was really kicking for his flanker into that bottom corner. Scott just has a look at the sun. And it is beaming down into the eyes of St. George in that corner that Gale kicked into. Repeating the score, and here's a penalty to Balmain. It's against Haddock for his feet of the scrum. Minor grades here at Leichhardt today. The under-23s went to the Saints and the reserves to the Saints.
One of Balmain's trump cards this year has been their English import centre, Gary Schofield. He had a fairly quiet first half, and no doubt a few words from Frank Stanton at half-time might have indicated that he wanted Gary to get more involved. So let's look for that in this second half.
I can see Gary Jack coming back onto the field after being in the sin bin for 10 minutes. Schofield has been playing back at full-back. Jack just comes on and lets him know that he's back. So the scrum is packing about 10 metres out from the St. George line. Won by the Dragons. This is Graham Wynn. Tied up by Owens and Pearce. Here's Jarvis. Craig Young. John Fafita. He loves to run, John. He's like a young colt. He's born to run, and he gets outside Craig Young and he hits it up very, very keenly, like this man, Billy Noak, up to the halfway line. It's been Fafita and Noak running out wide that has busted Balmain. Here's Beattie. Linane dropping it into that touchline where the 22-metre line is, and so a scrum will go down with a Balmain feed. Replacement replacement getting ready for the Tigers. Let's go to Graham.
Mick Campbell in 19 for the Tigers on the sideline, Ray. He'll go on to replace Gary Bridge.
Well, this crowd today at Leichhardt emphasises again, if you give the Sydney sporting public the big clash on a Butte day, they'll come out. The pass from Fafita, look forward to me. It's with Mike O'Connor. Gale chases. The pass inside has gone astray. The referee's gone down. He and Wayne Pearce clashed. Burgess is tackled on the 22 line. But I honestly believe there was a pass up the ground that was forward, and maybe there was another one just there. Graham Winner's tackled. 10 metres out from the line. Steve Morris runs. Gives it to Haddock. Haddock to Jarvis. The ball again is on the ground. Jarvis rakes it back. Going back for it, there is Burgess. And Burgess is tackled 20 metres out from the Balmain line. Played back there for Ritchie to give to Fafita. He comes to Brooks. Gets his pass to Jarvis. Jarvis stands and gets it to Ritchie, but he sold him a St. Vincent's. That was a real hospital pass. Poor little Ritchie, he was crunched by Clark. It's gone to Haddock. He goes for the air, and here they come, the St. George runners, but the ball has sat up there in the wind, and Conlon had it, lost it. The ball went from John Owens across now for Davidson. He gets the pass inside, picked up by Benny Elias. 6 more tackles rules the referee. St. George stretched to the limits at the moment, but now they strike prematurely, and it'll be Balmain to clear. There's Wayne Pearce going up to check on the health of Kevin Roberts. I think that's what he's doing. Maybe not. Maybe I've misread it. But it was a heavy clash of Pearce and the referee. And just for a fleeting moment, I thought Roberts may have lost a little bit of control because he was probably getting himself reassembled. Little passage of play where a couple of forward passes appeared to creep in. Another penalty. St. George inside the 10. Conlon with the breeze at his back. I wouldn't be surprised if he kicks.
I think he's got to have a shot with the scoreline 14-7. This is the one that can put them within striking distance.
So Wayne Pearce just simply called Conlon across and asked him the question, and Conlon said, sure, no worries. So Gartner is going over towards the centre of the ground to chase this ball keenly. Here comes Conlon. It's in flight, it's getting away, but he's put it dead. So it'll come out for the drop kick by St. George. I thought St. George could have taken that ball in the in-goal, really.
Yes, Michael O'Connor should have caught that one and run it out. They would have been working the ball out of their own quarter. As it is, they're going to give the ball back to Balmain from the 22-metre drop out, and Balmain have got another chance to exert some sort of pressure on them.
So no change to the score. 14-7 St. George. Here's Gartner getting it to Pearce, and Pearce getting across the halfway line. He's picked up by Billy Noak and driven into the ground. That was a good tackle by the St. George second rower. Here's Elias away from dummy half, one of the game's best dummy half runners. And Elias will play the ball back to Big Hemsley. Across it comes to Gale. Gale away for Conlon. Conlon out to Schofield. Schofield ran around behind David Brooks, but there didn't appear to be an obstruction of the defence. It's a twofold ruling, that one. It's got there's only one way to read it, of course, but some people read it incorrectly. This is Campbell, the replacement.
This game's a long way from over. I've had the feeling that for the last 5 or 6 minutes, Balmain are playing a lot better than the way they finished the first half. They're running onto the ball with more commitment.
Pearce got a magic ball out the back for Gale. Gale to Davidson, and Davidson throws the ball willy-nilly, and Graham Winner's come up with it for St. George. Balmain down by 7 points. Yeah, sure, they're playing catch-up football, but I doubt that it's time yet to press the panic button, and throwing passes like that at this stage is not going to help them. Ball played by Craig Young. Jarvis goes up on the blind. Tackled out there by Scott Gale. This is Ritchie, and now Young. Just over the halfway line is Craig Young. Of course, a win here today, vital for St. George's approach to any further encounters with Balmain. It would have been their 3rd defeat at the hands of the Tigers. And, oh dear, Jack passes inside the 22 to Davidson, who appeared to knock on, but the referee said knock backwards. Is Gary Jack trying to repair the damage? This is Campbell, away to Conlon. Conlon stepping, Elias, Hemsley, taken by Young, gets it away to Owens. And play is still just outside the Balmain 22. Well, Ross Conlon is down in the back play. He's motionless on the turf. In fact, I saw a couple of his teammates rush over to see that he was all right as Balmain kicks in general play. A huge kick, finding touch. The scrum will go down deep into St. George's territory. Scrum to be fed by Perry Haddock. Won by St. George. And the little fellow scoots out the open side. Lenane got a ball to Burgess. Burgess is tackled. Oh, it was a desperate tackle. It had to be made by Campbell. Now they go through to Jarvis. Fafita. Conlon very, very groggy. He's not quite sure where he is or what happened. Graham, you're sitting down on the sideline, and it's harder for you to see it than us. But did you see anything? I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Here's a big run down the flank there for Johns. He's tackled midway 22, halfway on the Balmain end of the pitch. Yes, Graham, I had to pull out of it.
Well, I didn't pick up anything in the tackle, but he's certainly been knocked senseless, Ross Conlon. He can't take any further part in this match, and I've just noticed that Stephen Humphries in 15 with Frank Stanton here at the front of the tunnel. He'll be going straight on.
Well, St. John's ambulance men are going on. The stretcher is going on, and Kevin Roberts has called timeout for the removal from the field of Balmain's prolific point scorer, Ross Conlon. He scored a try in this match, the first of the game, and kicked one goal. It's a big, big blow to lose Conlon at this stage of the game. Well, here's the last time Ross handled the ball. He was tackled, and on his way to the ground, his head may have come in contact with a St. George arm, but I'm glad we showed you that, because it proved there was absolutely nothing in it. Whatever happened was purely accidental. And there's Ross being stretchered from the field, heavily concussed, and here's Stephen Humphries on the field in jumper number 15. It looks like John Davidson has gone to full back. Pierce, good tackle by Johnny Fafita. He came across and he had tremendous determination in his drive. This is Brooks.
I think what's happened is Humphries has gone onto the wing and Gardner's moved into the centre position.
Now it's Campbell to Clark. So Balmain have had some crippling injuries in the match. They lost one 5-8. They used another one for as long as they could. Then he had to be replaced, or was replaced. And then they've just lost Conlon. So the back line has been shuffled and shuffled again. Elias kicks. Burgess going quickly across the ground. Morris is there. Humphries has come through in defence. And it's a penalty, is it? No, I thought he may have been going to blow the whistle and get St. George a penalty, because Stephen Humphries appeared to be in front of the kicker. And thereby, of course, had to stay outside the 5. But it's played by O'Connor. Jarvis put it down. You don't see him do that very much. And this is Pierce. So Balmain are now in a very strong attacking position, only 15 metres out. Gale away to John Owens, and Owens stands in a tackle. It's gone to Elias, and Elias is pulled down. 18 minutes of the NEC big game remaining, and it's a penalty to Balmain. Well, of course, they've got Gary Schofield, who's a very accomplished goal kicker. David Brooks, of course, kicks goals just fine. He was the Balmain kicker last year, but this man Schofield, they say, has a very impressive goal-kicking record back in England. So a very worried Frank Stanton. Gary Schofield is the kicker. His side down by 7. They need this one. He's got it. Yes, he's got it. The Tigers are back within striking distance. 14-9. St. George leading in the NEC big game. 14 points points to 9. 15 minutes to go. O'Connor puts in the little kick. Gary Jack is there to take it. And Gary's away. Well, they should have pinned him back on the 32-metre line. Missed tackles, 20 for Balmain, 10 for the Saints. Here's Gary Schofield. He'll want his winger inside. Humphreys is there, but it's Elias who gets the pass away. It's John Owens speeding it across to Campbell. Campbell to Hemsley. Can he promote it? He does. It's with John Owens. He's tackled 3 metres into St. George's area. 14 points to 9. St. George leading as it goes out from Campbell to Clark. And Clark is tackled. Still about 9 metres into St. George's area. Away goes Gale from dummy half. He's in and around and away to the 22, and he dummies. Oh, he dummies.
Should have passed the ball.
He had 3 men outside him unmarked. Benny Elias now dummies and throws the long ball to Hemsley. Hemsley to Owens. Owens shrugs off a tackle. He's tackled now 15 metres out. 5 tackles gone for Balmain. Hemsley, Benny Elias. He puts up the bomb. Up they go for it. Burgess. No pressure really there on him. Well, the bomb, as you can see, it didn't have a very big chase. So it's a line drop out for St. George.
Balmain showed us in that set of 6 that they're on the recovery trail. They certainly haven't thrown the towel in. Sometimes players make good decisions under pressure and sometimes they make bad ones. And in that set of 6, I thought that Scott Gale made a bad option. He elected to throw a dummy and run when he had unmarked support outside.
It was a real blunder for the youngster, but here's Gary Jack going back to the 22 line. Brace yourself for the last 12 of this one. They look like being pretty hectic. Here's Campbell, the replacement. Look at this run from the number 19. He's 8 metres out. He's inspired Balmain. Gale, long ball out for Owens. Around the corner for Brooks. Over the top it goes. It's play on. No, it's not. The ball has gone forward, says the referee. Let's go back to our seats, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Funnell coming on in 23 for the Saints. Billy Noak is coming off totally exhausted. Graham O'Grady's getting ready. Noak comes off with 22 tackles to his credit. Linane is tackled. In fact, Campbell makes a crunching tackle on him. Graham Wynn comes away. Graham O'Grady is on the sideline in 21. A tremendous atmosphere here at Leichhardt. Before a crowd of, I think, around 22,000. They haven't given us the crowd. The ground record in excess of 22,000 set on cup final night back in 76. But the ground record for the premiership undoubtedly has been smashed. But I'm telling you, the noise here has been absolutely deafening today. Funnell is tackled 30 metres out, 14-9 in favour of the Dragons. Conlon suffering from concussion. That's the report from the rooms. And it's knocked down by O'Connor. Gale! Gale's away! He's very fast! He's still going, Gale! He picks up Davidson! Davidson tackled! Davidson is tackled 10 metres out from the line. St. George trying to reassemble. It's a push ball to the right. Away to Elias. On to Schofield. He gets out of a tackle. He steps back in field. He picks up Gary Jack. Kerry Hemsley. It's now Scott Gale. Gale striding up to the 5-metre line. He's held there. Balmain piling on the pressure. Hemsley. Gary Schofield. Schofield's a metre out from the line. 14 points to 9 in favour of the Dragons. With 10 to go. It's Scott Gale. Long ball for Gardner. Gardner floats it out for Humphreys. He'll score. Humphreys is in. Humphreys has scored. Wide out. It's 14 points to 13. Another sensational game between the Dragons and the Tigers. Young Stephen Humphreys scores the try. Frank Stanton comes from his seat. Well, Scott Gale, he almost, you could see him, was too exhausted to pass the ball. And then it went across
A fortuitous bounce for Humphreys, and then the young fullback goes in to score, playing on the wing here as a replacement.
It's been a lift-in performance by Scott Gale. It's raised the Tigers' hopes. He virtually did everything himself in the last 5 minutes. A long ball out to Humphreys. It was a bit of a scrappy ball, but he picked it up, knew the way to the try line and did the rest.
He only came out of retirement 6 weeks ago, this youngster, the son of former league boss Kevin. And I reckon Dad would be pretty proud of him at the moment. But what about Schofield? He can earn all his fee here with this kick. From the touchline. It looks good. It looks good. It's a goal. He's kicked it from the sideline. And the crowd has erupted. The Balmain crowd has erupted. The home side is a point in front. Balmain 15. St. George 14. Top of the table clash. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a moment in sport this is. Gary Schofield, you are the Lord Mayor of Balmain if you want the job. Stand aside, Nifty, you've lost the job, I'd say, to this young man, Gary Schofield. Benny Elias is tackled. 30 metres out. I can't hear a thing here at Leichhardt. The noise is absolutely deafening now, as this home crowd really giving it to the boys now. Wayne Pearce, 11 metres, his side of the halfway. Benny Elias, away for Campbell. What a game he's had since he came on. Clark to Jack. Jack, up to the halfway goes Gary Jack, the Australian fullback. The National Panasonic Cup champions and premiership leaders in front by a point, and Gale. Gale has found touch. 8 metres inside the 22 line. And again, the crowd goes absolutely berserk. Graham Hughes, are you still there or are you speechless?
Well, this is a magnificent game of football, Rover. I'm just going to say that the instructions had already been sent out from Frank Stanton while Schofield was taking that kick for goal. He wanted safety first from all the players, and he wants the ball down to the St. George quarter, and they played it to perfection.
O'Grady, he gets a pass away. Johns is running with the ball. He's tackled 10 metres out from, or 10 metres his side of halfway. This is Michael Beattie. Desperate stuff from Russell Gartner.
And isn't that David Brooks' field goal in the first half looking important now? And it wouldn't surprise me at all that if St. George can get down in the Balmain quarter, that they'll also look for a field goal. They'd be prepared to settle for a draw in this one.
St. George have got 6 more tackles. It's Perry Haddock stretching it out to Michael O'Connor. He gets away from 2 forwards. He kicks ahead. Hemsley might have taken him late. He did. It's going to be a penalty. It's going to be a St. George penalty for Michael O'Connor to change the scoreline in their favour. So Hemsley comes off. Mike Marquito goes on. And the Balmain crowd applauding Hemsley for a strong game. 3 from 4 for Mike O'Connor. He's kicking into the breeze, but he's only 22 metres out, and he's 12 metres in from touch. Can Michael O'Connor kick the goal? If he can, Saints go back to the lead. He hits it. He's got it. He's got it. Yes, sirree! Michael O'Connor puts the Dragons in front by a point, and the red and whites are going up now. What a finish. It started with a blaze, it did, and then St. George in the second part of the first half rushed on 2 tries, came from 7-0 down to lead 14-7 as Haddock is tackled 30 metres out. Down injured as Benny Elias for Balmain. This is Graham Wynn taking it up towards the Balmain 22. It won't be any consolation to these players, I'm sure, if and when they're watching our telecast. But let me say this, there hasn't been a loser out there today. In reality, I suppose there has been, but by Jove, you've turned on a great one for the crowd, both on TV and here today. They put the field goal. Michael O'Connor dropped goals, and the Saints lead by 17 points to 15. Mike O'Connor drop goal. 17-15. A shallow restart as Elias limps around in the line, but he would be the player that you'd want to run at right now because he's working on one leg, really.
I didn't think that was a good restart of play at all by Balmain. They virtually just conceded possession to St. George about 35 metres out from their line. I would have thought they might have gone for a bouncy short kick-off or a chip kick.
This is Pat Jarvis now. Steve Funnell tackled right on the halfway. Perry Haddock. Now it's Graham O'Grady. Back for Craig Young. Craig Young up and turns it inside for Fafita. And Fafita has tackled 15 metres into Balmain's territory. Here's Haddock getting in and around. He puts the kick up. Gary Jack's underneath it. And Jack with one of the last throws of the dice. Tackled 30 metres out. Played back to Campbell. Campbell to Gale. Gale to Gartner. Gartner to Davidson. Davidson's making a long run. He's got to centre the ball if he can. Snuffed out by Graham O'Grady.
And that's one of the reasons that Roy Masters has sent Graham O'Grady onto the field. He's a tremendous reader of defence. He saw that St. George were in danger and he covered it up.
Here's Johnny Owens tackled now. 15 metres into St. George's territory. Benny Elias shapes the kick, holds it back, floats it out to Humphreys. Humphreys is taken by Graham Wynn. Official attendance 21,707 as Benny Elias goes from dummy. It's a penalty to Balmain. Balmain have a chance to level. Gary Schofield will be called across to shoot for 1 point. Would you believe almost in the same place as he converted the Stephen Humphreys try. He can level at 17 all and leave Balmain on their own at the top of the table. He's missed it. It left the boot badly and Saints come down with it. It's Glenn Burgess. Tackled 5 metres out from the St. George line. 17-15 to the Dragons. And here's Funnell with the ball now. Tackled 11 metres into the field of play. Craig Young. A tower of strength for the St. George side. Graham Wynn on the quarter. Saints playing it close to the chest. Shaw and Slow does the job at the moment. Fafita just beyond the quarter-way line. 5 tackles gone, and Graham Wynn kicks for touch, and Stephen Humphreys allowed it to go. So we see this scrum, probably the last of the match, going down 7 metres into St. George's territory, fed by Gale, won by the Black and Golds, out to Campbell, away to Schofield. Schofield tackled right on the halfway line. The siren must be only a matter of seconds out. It's a penalty to Balmain for holding him down in the tackle. Pearce is saying to Schofield, can you kick it? They're going to go for it. 1 metre on their own side of halfway. Well, I don't know whether Schofield's a long kicker of the ball or not, but he must think he is.
Well, I'd feel a lot more confident if it was Ross Conlon.
So, there is no doubt that Pearce said, do you reckon you can get the distance? Schofield said, I'll give it a shot. David Brooks would have had the length for this, you know. Brooks is the bloke who would have had the length.
Well, there's a strong wind behind him, and maybe distance isn't a factor. It's just a matter of steering it straight.
Here he goes, 52 metres out. He's missed it. Graham O'Grady takes it back. Heart-stopping stuff here at Leichhardt. O'Grady with a block-busting run. He's still going. O'Grady to the halfway line. There's the siren. It's all over. A memorable game of rugby league, provided by 2 very good rugby league sides who may well be playing the 1985 grand final. For the Saints, Morrison, no tries. O'Connor, 4 goals and a drop goal. Balmain, Conlon and Humphreys tries. Conlon a goal, Schofield 2, and Brooks a field goal.
Mike, I saw you laugh there. They don't come any tougher or closer.
Yeah, that was a tremendous game. And either side really deserved to win it, but I think we wanted it a little bit more than they did today. Tremendous effort, particularly on our forwards part, I thought. And backs just never stopped tackling. It was a good all-round performance.
I'll put it to you, what was going through your minds in those dying few minutes? You had the kick all lined up.
Oh, that one, I was more worried about Scully's 2 attempts than mine. Nothing in particular, I just had to concentrate.
OK, thanks, Mike. Well played. A very happy St. George's Michael O'Connor. After the break, Billy Anderson with a worthy man of the match.
In a memorable game of football here today at Leichhardt Oval, our man of the match is the St. George second-row forward, John Fafita. Congratulations, John. That was a great game to watch. What was it like to play in?
It's hard, and we come up, today, and looking forward, to win, to beat Balmain.
For taking today's Man of the Match award, it's my great pleasure to present you with the NEC Game Ball Trophy and also a cheque for $500 from NEC.
Thank you very much.
If you did go wrong, where do you think you did in that, say, in that second half?
No, I think we lost it. Well, we put ourselves behind the 8 ball with about 10-minute concentration lapse before half-time when we had the 7-0 break, and then they scored 2 quick tries. That sort of put us behind the 8 ball, and a couple of silly errors in the second half there late cost us the match.
Roy's semi-finals full of pressure, but that's a good test for it today then.
Yes, with about 5 minutes to go, I thought, we're going to do it the hard way, but I've always said that if we win the minor premiership, we'll win the competition, and now with 3 games left to do, I think we can.
You want to finish first and have that break?
Yeah, I think so. Just reading the way that our team is, I think our team is a sort of a side that could do with a week's break and then come in nice and fresh and play a power game.
Well, John Fafita takes out the Man of the Match award, a match in which there were several fine performers, but Fafita's effort, I thought, was outstanding, and it goes back to back with some other good performances that the young man has been putting in. Now let's have a look at the full list of scores so far in this round of Winfield Cup football. Canterbury 19, Parramatta 4 yesterday, North 24, West's 8 today, Illawarra 24, Eastern Suburbs 14, Saints 17, Balmain 15 in a truly memorable match, Manly 17, Canberra 2. 2 minutes into the second half, Big Daly made the bus for Manly. It carried them onto the attack. He played the ball, it went out to Paul Vorton, and from the captain to Dale Shearer, and he went in to score, making it 12 points to 2 in favour of the Eagles, and they ran out winners by 17 to 2. There's the premiership table for you. Balmain and St. George equal top of the table, 34, and well clear of Parramatta and Canterbury on 30 points apiece. Then it's 3 points to Manly, 27, Penrith 25, Cronulla a match in hand, 22, East 21. They had to win today, Easts. Canberra 20, South a match in hand, 18, then North 17, West 16, Illawarra 12. That takes us to next weekend. Illawarra Balmain, Canberra Easts, Parramatta Manly, North Canterbury South Wests, Penrith Cronulla, and St. George are guaranteed 2 points. Tomorrow night at the Sydney Cricket Ground, live, 7:30, the telecast coming through Network 10 Sports of the match between Cronulla and South Sydney on Monday Night Football. Buses from Cronulla, the Leagues Club up there, they leave at 4, 5 and 6 to take you to the ground, and admittance is $3 for adults and $1 for pensioners and children. On behalf of Graham and Bill and the 10 Sports team, I really hope you enjoyed what has been a match that I know we all enjoyed bringing to you. Balmain and St. George. I'm Ray Warren. Good night.